It's being hailed as a historic ruling, making hearing aids more accessible and cost-effective. Soon, millions of Americans will have access to over-the-counter hearing aids. The FDA issued its ruling in August, allowing people who feel they have mild to moderate hearing loss to buy the devices without a prescription directly from stores or online. And experts say research shows hearing loss can impact many aspects of health. The American Academy of Audiology recommends seeing an audiologist first to test your hearing and to determine if you're a good candidate for over-the-counter hearing aids. Elderly adults ages 65 and older comprised of 81% of total COVID-19 deaths at the beginning of the pandemic. Most of those deaths occurred in healthcare settings in that age group. The COVID-19 death rate was nearly 3 times higher among those 85 and older compared to those aged 75 to 84, and 7 times higher than those aged 65 to 74. Death rates were also higher among those aged 65 and older in North Dakota, South Dakota, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. The Food and Drug Administration has confirmed that there is a shortage of the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder drug Adderall. This comes more than 2 months after some pharmacies reported having difficulties filling prescriptions for that particular medication. The FDA says one of the manufacturers of the drug, Teva, is experiencing ongoing intermittent manufacturing delays. It includes the immediate release form of Adderall, a stimulant that helps manage ADHD symptoms. The FDA suggested that patients work with their healthcare providers to determine their best treatment option, which may include seeking alternative medications. Are you already making your list and checking it twice? Up next on Valley News Live at 5, why experts suggest that you should start your holiday shopping soon.